Yo, 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 Nakama around the world. Welcome back to Conqueror's Haki Corner. It's your boy Vim,
Yo,
your boy Serge,
Checking in.
myself, Rook. We're here once again to bring you another chapter review of One Piece 975 Kinemon's Clever Trick. Yeah,
but if you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.
yep,
Don't forget to hit the like button. And don't forget to share the video because the more you share, the more we grow.
no doubt. So, shall we get into this?
Oh, that's no doubt, man. Guys, tell me about the front page cover, man.
Okay, we've got Gotti getting a kiss.
Getting lipsed.
Yeah, that lip treatment.
But it is, as you would have guessed by now, Lola
Yeah.
and not her sister.
Mhm.
So it's clear Gotti's a bit confused about why he's getting kissed because he thinks it's his boss's wife.
Chiffon. Yeah.
But he'll find out soon enough it's not. Because Lola says, thank you, whoever you are. Well, Gotti looks like he got to a beating for that. It'd be interesting to see how it goes on.
Yeah, for real, it'll finally be reunited.
What's important to see, though, is by it being Lola and the Capone, the Tank Time pirates meeting her, where is this going to take them?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
in terms of plot, because like all these front covers, they always have like a reasoning. So
If they hear the story about Straw Hats, she might say, I'm going to go help them.
For sure.
Or I'm going to go and see them.
Because she's somewhat
Yeah.
indebted to Nami, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, so we start off and we see one of our favorite ninjas who we had no doubt with.
Shinobu.
Being one of the traitors, we had complete faith that she was a faithful individual. One of the Scabbards. Shinobu is wrapped up in snakes, very realistic snakes, but I'm going to assume they are because we've got a snake amongst them, which is Kanjuro.
Sure.
She's been taken obviously to the side, wrapped up in those snakes. She can't get out, and she doesn't understand why Kanjuro is doing what he's done. But Kanjuro is also confused because he thinks that his report to Lord Orochi made such an impact, but it had no difference.
Yeah.
the thing is, like, what's interesting, like, I think he's been made into such a cool character because it's obviously the extent of his devil fruit is pretty useful, man. Like, his power is almost like size from Naruto, the way he can bring his things to life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's true.
And so yeah, Kanjuro's a bit puzzled by the trail of the Straw Hats as well as Law as well as Kid, because he thought Trafalgar was still locked up in the prison. Little did he know.
Then we get a lovely little few panels of where we get to see how the Straw Hats are looking, and I'm loving the way Sanji looks with the black gloves, man. Like, he is looking hard. You got Zeus dressed like a samurai in armor, Nami looking like scrumptious as usual. Everyone's, and you know what? I love Luffy's jacket as well. He's looking like a captain. I think the only one that hasn't really changed is Zoro. Like, he's still got the same attire.
Yeah, pretty much. One thing that kind of threw me off though, was that Pedro in the background by Sanji?
No, that's one of the other musketeers.
Okay. He looks hella like Pedro.
Yeah. It's another one. Definitely another one.
Yeah. So it's nice to see the Straw Hats back together once again. Ship all intact.
Bro, they even got Zeus in a samurai helmet. They kitted the whole team out.
Trust
They
that.
kitted the whole team. It's mad.
What I want to say though, like, is they basically show that how strong the ship is. Obviously, it was built of Adam's wood.
Yeah.
So indestructible, pretty much. You know, Frankie gets to explain why that aerial assault by the whatever they were called. I called them the D heads. It was very, very unsuccessful. Then we get to that, what I wanted to talk about, because there's a lot of hidden meaning in this, man. So the bit where the free Shabodi trio attacked the ship, it was a good build up. Jackie! They all go up, they all do their individual attacks. It's like a competition, it's like a race. I love the fact that Law is in the race as well, because for a while he's been turned into a little bit of like a mastermind rather than competing with them. And right now he's stepping back to them like, guys, like, it's not even a competition.
You know what? The parallel with Shapodi Archipelago when they first stepped out of their trading house where they were selling slaves is amazing. And Oda's done a full circle of how I wasn't going to say matured, but I was going to say it's more how they've developed, because
Yeah.
it's the same argument and it's the same egos in play. And you hit the nail on the head, Sergeant. It's don't tell me what to do. I'm going to take your head off if you keep telling me what to do. I'll control the situation. You just stay back wherever you need to stay back. Beautiful.
Just talk about their attacks now. Oda, like we said, we learn in this chapter, every chapter he does nothing by accident. And I think some things that he did with the attacks is to let us know. So the first thing is he lets it be known in their dialogue that they all can actually just destroy one-shot the ship. Even though they all had the same ship, they all could have destroyed the ship individually. That's the first thing. Now, specifically to their abilities, yeah, if you look at what Kid did, he uses the punk rotten attack to draw the metal to draw himself to their ship. So it's almost like if there's metal, he can do a magneto flex and fly. Like that's like his ability is so amazing. We're still yet to see how he uses Haki, but I've got no doubt that he can use Haki. Obviously, we know Room is probably. I actually think out of the three of them, Room is the best ability. It's just obviously Oda holds back Law for a plot purpose to let Luffy be the main dog, because you can't make Law the main character. And then Luffy, what I wanted to talk about is not so obviously we know what he can do with Gear 4, but the most important thing to see here is afterwards. So after they destroy the ship and they land together and they're arguing, the most important thing to note is he's completely fine, not fatigued, because his Haki's gone up a level. And remember, as we learned, the dialogue in terms of the next level of Rio or the higher level of armament Haki is when you use the Haki inside things to destroy them from the inside. So he's, and at the same time, he can preserve himself, which is, I think, all just letting us know, framing it so that he's ready for these big boy battles with the Yonko, with the Commanders, with the, the Six Flying, the Toby Roppo. Like,
we're not going to see him try and go away and get some rest and eat and do, makes sense. I like that. You've got everyone commenting on them. These captains are crazy. Do something, shoot them dead. they don't like them at all. Then Kishuro.
Yeah, Kishuro says that.
Hands up.
I mean, he's got everyone questioning. Well, they feel a bit safe because Kishuro's now finally popped up, but obviously Kishuro, not being on that side, says, well, he lets the Straw Hats know, or I should say, the allies of the Scabbards know that we're here and we're here to serve purpose. Will you take us? And then he just delivers an attack and just sliced the ship in half, was it?
Crazy.
No, he knocked out the cannons. He didn't actually slice the ship in half. I thought that first. So he actually did that first, where he came. They were like, "Oh, boss Kishuro, the Kishuro family, sliced the ship's cannons," and he goes, "I sliced the cannons that were pointing at me."
Yeah.
And that's when we go frame to frame, and we kind of see. So first Zoro was like, "This guy," because he remembers like having a little.
Yeah.
Then we got what's his name, Ashura Doji's like, "This guy's a demon with the blade. Watch out!" And that's when he says to them, "You know what?" And this is what's the genius of Oda. Like, even a little story like the pig god, what was it called in the flashback? The mountain god incident.
Yeah.
So with the mountain god incident, he framed it in a way like it wasn't even just some funny bit of comedy. He threw that in the story, so this would be a way that Kinemon recognizes him, because he don't look
to be able to have that rapport, because no one else knows it. Yeah.
Also, no one else calls him Kin.
Yeah,
exactly. And the rest of the chapter, I swear to God, I've read it several times. The first 3 times I read it almost brought me to tears with the speech that he gave, man. It was just, everyone's okay. It's real beautiful, man.
The favor and debt that I owe the Kazuki clan is immeasurable. Slip. In fact, I think back on 40 years ago, kin to the mountain god incident that happened on the capital. The people believed it to be caused by Lord Odin's rampaging, but they were wrong, kin. That event was caused by you, by the greed of your younger days. But only one man can know that. Damn. Is that you, Denjiro? Beautiful, man. And he takes off his wig. So he's been wearing a wig the whole time. It's interesting as well. Because obviously his hair did change.
Yeah.
So he's been wearing that little afro kind of comb out. So that's why we didn't recognize him when he was running around doing the Robin and the thieving. Because he took his wig off every time he did that.
Yeah, that's where the whole ponytail thing was. So he ended up looking like do you remember when Killer attacked
Yeah. When he was wrapped up,
Yeah.
No, but the big thing was as well, like, he obviously lets us know, he gives an epic speech. I don't even want to try to paraphrase it, but he lets them know how people have been waiting, and we get the panels of everyone like determined to
Yeah.
fight. 5,200 strong. Let it be known that most of the ships were left intact. Now, the interesting part, I remember me and Brooklyn, we talked about this, and I'd read it a few times. The first time I read it, I thought that this was part of Kinemon's master plan. But then when you read it the second time, you realize Kinemon had no clue. He just got lucky. And the reason why he got lucky, I forgot where I saw this. I read this online, so I'm not gonna like take credit for something. But what in terms of the translation of the different ports here, so what I get, Port Tokage means lizard. So when he drew the lines through the belly, they assumed he tried to give the snake legs to be a lizard. Hence why that's where it was Port Tokage. But the peoples misread it. By the lines in the middle meant cut out the middle of the word. And if you cut out the middle of the word, I think it gives something else, a hato, which means a different port, which was the port that they all ended up going to. So that's how they got lucky, and it was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
It's you know what the mad thing is they've been away for 20 years. So they don't know and remember Wano's landscape as well as they should do. Because everyone else has been around for 20 years, so that landscape and everything changed. That's why he was alluding to that. No one knows it better than the people of Wano. Perfect.
Yeah, for sure.
See, so the 4,200 soldiers you rallied followed the plan perfectly, hiding themselves behind the maple forest along the wharf at Habu Port, that place so beloved by Lord Yasuie, till the moment of the plan had arrived. Brilliant. Everyone's fine.
And obviously they thought they'd only have 4,000, but because they got the Kishiro family, they got 5,000. Then obviously we're gonna have Fishman come. We're gonna have Nekomamushi come with who he brings, and God knows what else. Like I said, Marine's gonna be coming into the picture. It's gonna be real epic stuff, man. And unfortunately, we have to be on a break next week.
Nice.
This is suffering. After a chapter like that, it's a suffering for me, man.
Guys, do you think that there will be a two-part to this war, or do you think it'll be a one-on all-out war?
Me personally, I don't think there'll be two parts. What I think will happen is it's gonna be very similar to Ennis Lobby. So if you go to like how Ennis Lobby was, there's the bit going all the way to the middle, and there's different walls within the place where you're fighting. And I think it's going to be similar in terms of that. So now's the fight on the sea to get to Onigashima. Then there's going to be like the first part of Onigashima, and then further in Onigashima. That's how I think it's going to be. I don't think there's going to be no moving away. I think it's just going to escalate. And I just think Oda will bring in the different backups at different times. So I think the way it's been framed is obviously he hasn't introduced the numbers. The numbers just seem like giant monsters in silhouette form, and I think they're going to be a problem. But where I think they're going to get destroyed is by the Minks. It's going to be the Minks versus the numbers, because the Minks are going to use the Sulong form and go crazy and turn monsters themselves. So that's off out. You're going to have, obviously they've got 40, 50,000 strong between Kaido and whatever Big Mom brought. However, I think there's going to be some kind of moment where Kid and both Luffy are going to use Conquerors to just wipe out half of that, or a great number of that, just to kind of level the field. And then it's just going to be who he wants to give individual battles to, who he wants to give the commanders to, because the thing is, we've got a lot of strong characters in the mix. The 3 super strong Scabbards, which are obviously Kawamatsu, Ashura Doji, and Denjiro. Like, they're really significantly strong swordsmen. And as I've always said, even with the commanders, I don't think they're going to be pure one-on-one fights. There'll be moments, it'll be very similar to like when Luffy and Law both fought Doflamingo together. There's going to be, but then someone will rise to the occasion to have their moment to take out the person. Like I said, personally, I think Zoro has to end King one-on-one. But before that, I think there might be someone that is involved in that fight as well. Because otherwise, who's going to fight who? There's only so many people. But then at the same time, it's at what point do the Big Mom and Kaido, the Beast Pirates and the Big Mom Pirates kind of, because the way that there's no purpose in Big Mom going all the way, and also it's a bit too Yonko is too much. So there has to be some kind of point where I think initially people are going to fight with the Big Mom Pirates, but then they're going to go their own way.
I'll go a trick for you, Lawyer. What if Big Mom knows where that red stone is, has one of her kids do a little print, and then what she says after, oh, I'm not interested in fighting. You crack on. This is your little
For
happy little island. I'm a bounce.
yeah.
Big Mom's kind of exhibited the trait of a gangster. Like, if you look at her, she's like a family mafia, and they're very intelligent. So she could have I would not be surprised, and I would really love it if Oda used this as a way of just making Big Mom even that much more special and that much more smarter to outwit Kaido to get into the glyph. Oh yeah, I'm coming for Mugiwara. Nah, it was all a poneglyph for her. So that would be real genius. I like what you said.
It's because it plays on what you've just mentioned. That he couldn't do nothing with her in the last island. He didn't go there to fight properly, don't get me wrong, but nothing. Like, it's overwhelmingly too strong. And even with the levels we got now, we've got to remember the only person that we've seen stand up to Kaido in another is Odin. None of his other team members could do that. So it's like there's levels to the strength that people actually have in this kind of game that we're in. And it's a combined strength of Law, Kaido, Law, Kid, and Luffy. If they're combined, all three of them, who are they as strong as?
The way I would look at it is like this. If you go back to Marineford, like, and truly, okay, Whitebeard was past his prime. So he wasn't at strongest. But even when he got serious, this is my perspective, he one-sidedly just beat the hell out of Akainu. However, the thing to remember was all the three admirals were able to be a threat to Whitebeard. Like, as in, Whitebeard couldn't just stay there and just take their shots. Like, if they cuts. And similarly, the commanders of the Whitebeard pirates, I don't see like them as strong as some of the admirals, but they could compete. So I think what Oda's done carefully so far is he's constructed an image of Luffy to where Luffy is more or less first or second commander level, more or less. Like, we're not going to say he's first because I don't believe he won against character. He's held his own, and we know and he's trained, so he's a lot stronger now than when he fought Katakuri. On top of that, they've kind of, without showing us, they've said in different ways, Kid is his equal or his competitor. It's going to be a problem. And then on top of that, Law's always been cerebral and has a unique ability. And I wouldn't be surprised. He'll be able to make moves. So he'll be much like the way, like Marco the Phoenix is never going to threaten certain people in the Navy, but he could hold his own.
If Law's doing a fight with Luffy, he showed us with the Flamingo. He can maneuver Luffy and Kid or anyone himself into a position where they can attack in an effective manner without getting hurt. And because of that ability, and like you said, Rumi is so like there's so much things you can do with it. It's like it's insane. Okay, this is the only weapon that's gonna hurt Kaido. Boom! I'm gonna spin you around. You're gonna take the slash.
Question: does Law die?
Oh,
not yet.
I don't think he's ready to die yet.
Well, what's his purpose in the storyline?
If it is that whole, okay, does his devil fruit allow him to make somebody immortal? Is that what the whole point is?
Or save a life, sacrifice his life.
Right? He will, but it's too early.
I don't know.
The only person, the life he's going to save is Luffy's, right? But is this the time where Luffy's about to die?
Well, if they're going up against two Yonko, I think that there's a good chance that he's going to be in a bad way.
So I guess that means, is there going to be a major death?
Before.
Oh, listen, there is no way.
I don't doubt that.
The major deaths. Like, no way. There's going to people have to die. This is going to be like marriage in the sense that you'll either have one significant major death, either like, I think it will be someone like sacrificing themselves for like Luffy's sake. I think that has to happen. Whether it will be like a case of, let's say Garp comes to the battlefield, and I mean, I'm just reaching, I'm just throwing a random scenario, but he can't compete with the two Yonko at the same time. Garp still has something in him to like compete with them, but he's older, and you know, he comes and tries to save Luffy and something happens. That's one. Law, you know, I think there has to be a significant death. Like, none of the Straw Hats will die, in my opinion. But for the only reason I question Law is because he's fulfilled his purpose. He's avenged Corazon. He stopped Doflamingo. But it's just the only other. But then playing devil's advocate to that is Law does have a purpose in the bigger picture, the Will of D, and in the Great War against Emu. So that's maybe the way you could save it for later. But I just
I see a scabbard or two dying
yeah.
because their purpose was to protect Odin, protect his family. No, their purpose was to open the doors of Wano,
Yeah.
And for Momonosuke's sake.
and that's it. So for them, it's don't worry, Momonosuke, you're still gonna open the doors for Wano like we promised. This is for you.
Yeah, I can see
So
him dying
don't
for
take
that.
a blow to give a blow. That makes sense. Like
Or for Hiyori.
to get hit, it's boxing in it. Sometimes you gotta get in, Sergeant, right? You gotta take a hit just to get in.
I'll say this: if any Scabbard's gonna die, it's gonna be Denjiro. I think, just because the reason why I say that is like,
I was gonna say Kinemon.
nah. You know what the thing is? I think the reason why I say with Denjiro, one, because he comes across stronger, and two, because he was so close to Orochi for so long, it'll be like a punishment for being a snake to them. Like to them, he's a snake because he's like manipulated them. So I can see it.
Yeah.
See it in that
They'll be
way.
out for his head. They'll be out for his head, basically. Full stop.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Well, another take on it is there's a possibility that the ones that were transported into the future will die, or the ones that stayed behind will die. Because the ones in the future shouldn't be there technically, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but then because of Momonosuke, you know, he's from the future, so you can't like just kill him off. Now, Oda, at the end of the day, we know Oda's not a serial killer in the manga, so I think you have at most, so definitely one death, at most two deaths, but people are gonna go messed up.
For sure.
But guys, just let us know what you guys thought about it in the comment section down below.
If you haven't already, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, leave a like if you like that video, and don't forget to share the video. The more you share, the more we grow.
Well, from Conquest Lucky Corner, it is a peace out.
Peace out.